get back home and play in front of our fans. I think our team understands what's in store for us this week. It'll be a very tough football game against a very good opponent that every year presents numerous challenges. They're very well coached, outstanding on defense. They are every year. They make you earn everything you get. They force you into making mistakes, take advantage of that. This past week, their offense played as good as they played all year long. Was very efficient, put up good numbers, moved the ball, got points. And I think if you look at their schedule, they played a very difficult schedule. 2 losses to 2 of the top 4 teams in the country, in Ohio State, Michigan, which no one has come close to beating. And then they had a loss by 3 to Illinois, and another loss to the rival by 3 points. So we're going to have to play efficient football. We know that in all 3 segments. We're going to have to play as well as we have all year in order to get a win. And our guys need to understand that, and that's how you're going to have to play in order to win in our conference against the opponents that we have coming up, starting with Iowa. So, we need to have a good week of practice and get out there and cut it loose come game day.
How do you judge whether your off week was productive or not?
Well, I think that we do have some guys banged up, so you're hopeful that they get out there and they're able to play and get back to at least practicing some, and do your best job of that. I think when you have an off week and you've lost, it stings more, and you've got to use that as fuel to get you back to understanding what it's going to take to win, and hopefully our players understand that we have to play more efficient football in order to win the game.
As you begin this week, what is the state of your secondary from a health standpoint and depth standpoint as you get into this week?
Well, there's concerns. Some guys still haven't practiced, so when they practice, we'll know if they'll be able to play. In the meantime, others have to get ready and be ready to go. So we've definitely had to maneuver some things and try some different possibilities in order to be prepared come game day.
So is Jamari and Corey still out?
They have not practiced yet.
Okay. What about Jenkins?
We're hopeful he'll be able to play just because we know his background. He's played injured quite a bit. But that'll be a game time decision.
As you've gone back and dissected what's happened to the secondary these last couple games, where are the issues with them and just the number of big plays that they've allowed?
Well, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I know we can play better. There are times that the underneath coverage should be helping a little bit more than it has. There are times that we've allowed people to run by us, which should not happen. There are times where maybe we, can possibly press on the outside to give our guys a chance to disrupt the timing and not give up easy completions. There's been times our front has allowed the quarterback to get on the edge, whether it's a design rollout to the field or a bootleg where there's way too much time to throw. So, yes, we've analyzed it all. I'm hopeful that we can put a good plan together and go out there and execute. I think that, trying to get these guys back healthy and playing efficient football is important. In order for us to win, all 3 segments have to play really good football. We're not going to win, and that's just how it's going to work. So we need the offense to take care of the ball and not turn it over and be as efficient as it can. We need the defense to create stops and do the best job they can to keep teams out of the end zone and not allow easy touchdowns. And special teams has to get an advantage, and that's just one of the reasons we were able to win last year. Is that I thought all 3 segments played together and played off each other, and in the end really just played better overall in order to give us just a slight chance to win.
Probably see this more and more with the transfer portal with Charlie and Tyrone coming from Iowa. So you're going to get guys playing former teammates as we get through this thing. But do you have a message to them this week, or you talk to them about just the emotions of facing their former teammates or anything like that, or do you even not address it?
I think it's probably less of a big deal than you think. I think, like you said, it's going to become even more common every year. It just happens that, Tyrone's from Indianapolis, and, this is where he's at now. And he's worked really hard and gives us great effort. Charlie, we're fortunate to have him. He's been a really good player. Had a relationship with Aiden O'Connell, to be quite honest with you. And, he's played really well. Now getting him healthy, and that's a different story. But he's done a really good job. And I just think every year you're going to see players move and try to get the best opportunity for them. That's the nature of college football now. You have to, take care of your players as much as you can. But at the same time, if there's a better opportunity somewhere else that they need to go to, then they need to go. And so you want guys that want to be somewhere and want to make a difference and want an opportunity to showcase their skills. So we, of course, will try to do that the best we can. I think both the young men really represent themselves well. They're high character young men that want to make a difference, and I think they'll play extremely hard this game.
How much has the week off helped Charlie? When I don't know if he did anything Sunday or not, but just do you feel like it paid off for him?
Well, I hope so. He hasn't practiced yet, so we'll see where he's at this week. But you use that time to hopefully get guys healed. But in the end, they know they have to get out there and practice some in order to play well.
What was different about Iowa's offense last week when you start looking at some of their other games leading it up to when they played Northwestern?
Well, when you watched them this past week, they were efficient. They didn't turn the ball over. They utilized their zone running scheme very well with the jet sweeps and the nakeds and play actions off of it. They were able to get easy completions and get the ball out on time. And I just think, combination of those things, they played efficient football. So that's a credit to them. And I think they know that they've always had a great defense. They've always been really good on special teams. When their offense is clicking, you're going to have a hard time winning. So I do think it's important. Like a lot of games, we have to figure out a way to get a lead and to not allow them to be able to, utilize that scheme as much as they can. So that's going to be vital for us, is figuring out a way to get a lead.
Yeah, Jeff, can you just kind of reflect? I was thinking about this morning, about the last time Iowa was here and where you were at and what that was like. You remember?
Well, I assume you're going to the COVID year.
Yeah.
That was a unique time. No one in the stands, and luckily we found a way to win. But other than that, I don't think back on it a whole lot. I know that every year against Iowa, man, it's the preparation is more than important, because they're as good as anybody at forcing the other team to make mistakes and taking advantage of it. And so you have to prepare hard, and you have to make sure that you cannot allow that to happen. When we played them last year, they were getting turnovers right and left. They had huge wins. And one of the reasons we were in the game is we did not turn the ball over, and that helped us get a lead, and then it took them out of their game. So, everything's very important against them, and you just have to play efficient football, or, if they're driving the car and in control, you're going to be going uphill.
But what was it like being at home during the game?
Well, that's never any fun. I try not to relive those moments. I was, good enough to do what I need to do, but there were COVID rules that you had to abide by, and I do abide by rules, I guess.
Just personnel-wise, too, could this maybe, is there a glimmer of hope that we do maybe see T. Denson or Brock Thompson?
I'd say there's a glimmer, but I haven't seen the glimmer yet. So I think, it is what it is at this time of the year. I can sit here and talk about injuries. You got to get the guys ready that are able to play. And you're going to have them every year, sometimes more than others. But it's our job to figure out a way to win. So, Brock's doing everything he can. Like we talked before, he's just had a lot of stuff going on, so you got to give him a lot of credit. He's working hard to get back. But, this is a tough physical football game, and you got to make sure he's fully healthy. So I don't anticipate that happening, but we'll see. Then T, like we talked before, he had double sports hernia. He had to go back and get another procedure. He's just fighting through that. It's tough.
And what about two other guys? I think Paul Paferi and Ben Furtney. I think both sustained some type of an injury at Madison too. What's their prognosis?
Yeah, Ben will be out, and Paul should be hopeful he'll play.
And have you had a chance just to even talk to the team? Maybe what's at stake here in November? Just the possibilities that are at their feet here.
Really not. I think that we can't concern ourselves with anything at the end of the tunnel. That's when you get caught looking down the road and don't prepare as hard as you can. There's a reason we use the one-game mantra. Fans and everyone else can talk about all the other stuff. That's fine. We get it. We understand it. But we've got a lot of work to do. It's hard to win. You've got to do a lot of things correctly. Just doesn't happen. Doesn't matter who you play. We know with this opponent that, we've been able to win a few times, but man, you've got to play efficient football, and you've got to really do all the small things correctly. So, the only thing on our mind is trying to win this game against Iowa.
How often do you guys encounter Iowa on the recruiting trail?
Well, Iowa does a good job recruiting. They hammer the state of Indiana quite a bit, and really before I got here, they probably dominated the state. I think we've been able to do a little bit better job, but they have a lot of connections, and they've done a good job. So, our coaches will run into them some. I've ran into them a few times. They've coached football a long time. I have a lot of respect for them. They believe in disciplined, hard-nosed football, winning the old-fashioned way of tremendous defense, sound running game, being physical up front, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's football. Like other teams, the recruiting battle always happens, and you just try to sell what you can do for the players and how you can help them, and hope that they see the same thing and they come be a part of it.
Yeah, Coach. Obviously, the past couple weeks, King Daru's been banged up but has seen the field. Dylan Downing as well has missed some time. Just how did they kind of benefit from the bye week and kind of your team's ability to kind of build up some more depth in the backfield?
Well, we're hopeful to get Dylan back this week. We'll see as this week progresses, but King is unlikely.
Well, with King being unlikely, then does that just mean Devin's going to be carrying the load? And I guess just the challenges of managing some of those guys when there's a little bit of uncertainty with guys like King.
Well, I mean, that's the part of it at this time of the year, and you're hopeful to get as many people back as you can. I think Devin's done a really good job. Dylan has worked hard to get back. We're hopeful this week that he can get there. He's put in a lot of time and effort. Tyrone Tracy is ready to go and work in the position, and you just you got to move guys around a little bit to make sure that all your positions are covered with a little bit of depth.
With the situation in the secondary being what it is there anybody you can move there or have moved there?
Well, we've moved guys around in the secondary, so there are multiple other guys playing the corner position, at least to some capacity, that are learning and making sure that we have backup plans ready or even starting plans ready. So that has been worked on last week and on Sunday, and at this point, you just got to find a way to get it done. So yes, we have moved some guys around to be able to learn that position a little bit more and play it some in practice.
But there isn't anybody from offense you could move over or anything like that?
No, we've talked about it, and there might be one guy that we still might consider, but at the same time, he hasn't been over there at all, and it's not quite as easy as you think unless you just play one or two coverages and say, hey, guard this guy. But that person did work a day or two in the spring at it, but it's more than likely just going to be from the people we have in the secondary right now.
And then the Ben Furtney role, that's been a relatively important one in your short yardage offense. It's not like you have a ton of running backs, have a ton of tight ends. Does anybody slide into that role now?
Well, I think that there are certain plays that we could use Payne or Paul if both are up and available. There are certain plays that we wouldn't want to use them. Right now, Tristan Cox has moved into that role a little bit. So getting him up to speed on just less than a handful of plays in those situations is what we worked on. So that could easily happen in a game with Tristan Cox.
The Iowa defense has always kind of tried to win that turnover game, specifically focusing on that. After the game against Wisconsin with O'Connell's 3 turnovers, what's the importance of limiting those, and what does O'Connell sort of have to do in order to keep those down?
Well, I think we're disappointed in the turnovers. Aiden was disappointed. We've talked about it even after, and he's still angry about it. But it happens. You learn from it and move on. And I think he understands the importance of taking care of the football. And it's one of the reasons towards the end of last year we were able to win quite a bit, because his numbers were off the charts as far as not only percentage but touchdown to interception ratio. And it's part of the game. So you just got to make sure, every game presents new looks and challenges. And when the play is not open on time, you have to be able to adjust and find an outlet and occasionally run. And you know what? Maybe that means in practice we've got to make him adjust and find the outlet and run more than he would like. Sometimes you can fall in a trap of guys being open a little more in practice and think that that's going to happen in the game like that. So we've normally been pretty good at adapting and adjusting to that, but we'll do our best to help him prepare this week of finding the outlet, the check down, and running occasionally, because that's how it's going to happen in a game.
What have you seen from the Iowa defense that makes them well-averse to that make them good at defending these opposing pass defenses and getting these turnovers?
Well, they're very sound. They're extremely well coached. Coach Parker's outstanding. He's been doing it a long time. He comes from a great background and tree of defense. Up front, they get off blocks. They're physical, but they definitely get off blocks faster than other teams. Their linebackers are in great position. They know how to play inside out, wall things off, put their hands on people, stay in their zone. They know how to play the quarterback's eyes and where he's going to go if he throws it early, where he's going to go if he throws it a little later. The secondary does a great job of keeping the ball in front of him, staying inside, not giving up the big play. And I think when those 3 segments play together well, you got to earn your completions and you got to earn your yardage, and they're not going to give you anything cheap. So with that, if you throw a ball near one of their guys, they catch it. I mean, it's noticeable. I don't know how they do it, but they catch everything that's thrown close to them. They don't drop interceptions. They take advantage of it, and when you do that, they win football games. And like I said before, we played them last year. They were dominating teams because they were just crushing people in the turnover battle, and it's just something they're really good at.
Anything else for Coach? All right, thanks, Coach. Thanks, guys.